All right, Mr. Mini is officially done. It's cleaned up. I got all the oil leaks knocked out. This is the official, I want to say, second startup. It's already been through one heat cycle already. The fans already came on, and it's working like it's supposed to. We got all the coolant, the air out the system. There's no misfires. It runs like great. Starts up normal. I mean, there's nothing really much I can say about it. It was just unfortunate that this car, to have such low mileage, had such like devastating issues. Anyway, I guess hopefully this shouldn't happen anymore. Maybe it was the individual's driving habits. I don't know. But I got a go odometer set. I'm going to show you that, and I'll see everybody after 150 miles, and we'll recheck it. So again, I got the everything's done with the car. Got the headlights adjusted and odometer set here. So we're at 0 miles. I get that glare off that screen. Simply just gonna test drive the car, recheck everything, and make sure there's no oil leaks in it, and she'll be good to go. So 150 miles. See you from there. All right, so a few days later, and been test driving the Mini. I got about let's see here, 135 miles on it now. Take a look outside. So I got everything all cleaned up yesterday, and it's actually keeping its sheen. So that's the cool thing about it. I think it was the armor on. But other than that, I got the miles driven. Everything works perfect. There's no oil leaks on this car. It's holding oil perfectly normal. It has great power in pickup. The car is very responsive. So I mean, actually, as much animus as I had with the car early on, I mean, I kind of grown to like it. I mean, I got my sweat and blood in the damn thing, so why not? Why not formulate a relationship? So everything on here is pretty much replaced that I had removed. Anything I put my hands on for it was removed. I did we did the timing chain. Of course, the piston that was causing that problem on cylinder 4. Let me show you that. So this is that piston here. This was the primary issue. If you haven't seen the other videos, I think it was the mid video, the second video, which I finally managed to pull the piston out. On the dome of the piston there, when you look at it from the top, the only thing you can see is this little gouge here, but underneath it was all this. That's why we didn't have any compression. So we got that taken care of. So that got a brand hammer new one. Like I said, the first place I ordered from had to refund my money because their inventory was incorrect, but wound up getting a new piston, so that worked out. So like I said, the timing chain is taken care of. We still reused the bearing that was on the number 4 cylinder. Gosh, if anybody ever have to take the housing off on the right side of the cylinder head, I was under the impression that it may come with a gasket. I wasn't too sure, but the anaerobic sealant worked very well with the setup it had. And the anaerobic sealant is basically like glue, RTV sealant. However, unlike the RTV sealant, this anaerobic sealant will only dry when it doesn't have any oxygen. So the parts that are exposed in the channels will not clog up the passages, and the oil can freely flow through, for the exception of the portions that is sealed. So that's the great thing about anaerobic sealant, and I had used that on the housing that supports the high pressure fuel pump and the what's that thing called, the vacuum pump there. So anaerobic sealant is like one of the best things, like honestly, since bottled water. So all those things are new. Oil filter, of course, change of oil. We got full synthetic in there. One thing I will say, this vehicle does have like an oil change interval. The clock is like 16,000 miles, which seems to be pretty excessive. I would not ever change my oil at 16,000 miles. I think one manufacturer had some issues with that, and that was a big inhibitor with their had a high failure rate with some of the engines. Don't hold me on that. I couldn't quite remember. So as far as like labor time pulling this, replacing the piston, it was slightly over 20 hours doing all this. And as far as once you get the bulk of the work was mainly, it seemed like the hard part was getting the front end off, and that's the only part I really hated. I mean, as far as accessing the pistons and everything, timing chain, wasn't that bad. As long as you got the special tools, you're perfectly fine. So, I mean, I would imagine this vehicle, this engine should hold up for another 70,000 miles, you know, assuming everything works perfect, you know. But these cars had such a high failure rate with the valves and internals, you know. I'm just knocking on wood. Based on what I've seen, based on, you know, my driving habits, my particular driving habits, I'm not sure once the owner get their hands on it how they're going to drive, but the car is so responsive and it's very powerful. Just have a light foot on it and everything will last. But the pistons didn't seem they weren't that robust, and I can understand why it potentially broke. They didn't have that much meat on the ring lands, and it just looked like a recipe for disaster in comparison to other pistons I've seen before. So, but like I said, the car is very responsive. It's a very good, tight handling vehicle. Somebody gave it to me, I have it, so I will have one. But we'll see. You know, if anything happens, I'll definitely update. But as far as this replacement and remedy is for the cylinder 4 misfire, it wound up being that piston. The valves was leaking. All the valves were taken care of from the machine shop. And I'll definitely put the link in the description if you want to check it out. But other than that, see you next one.